Am I the fool for losing my temper with my ILs and telling them they do not know more than a trained professional? I've, 36 female, been married to my husband, 39 male, for 2 years and we have a 5-month-old son. He was a widower with 2 kids, Eve, 12, and Rylan, 11. They lost their mom 7 years ago. I met him 5 years ago and we started dating 4 years ago. I knew his kids when we were just friends, so we had met before I became Dad's girlfriend. One regret I have is not waiting longer between dating and getting married. I feel like maybe the kids might have had an easier time if we had. They did express to my husband and in therapy before we ever got married that they didn't want to see anyone as a stepmom or a new parent. I still ask myself if having more time would have been better for them. The counselor told us to give it time, for me to be loving and open to a relationship and to work on getting closer with them through shared interests and time, and not to sweat if they didn't call me mom or say I was their stepmom. We get along. I'd love us to be closer. I would love for them to lean on me more and have more trust in me. But I know these things cannot be forced, and I know some of this comes out of fear that their mom's memory will be gone if they accept me as a stepmom. One thing they are very sensitive about is me talking about their mom, so I instead encourage my husband to keep talking about her with them, so it doesn't upset them and push them away if I do or if she doesn't get talked about at all. When we told the kids I was pregnant, they were upset. They didn't like that it was happening, and they talked with my husband a lot and had some therapy sessions of just the 3 of them before I joined back. My husband and I also did sessions just us. ILs started to complain after our son's birth. The kids acknowledge our son as their half-brother, but they always say half, which drives my ILs crazy. The kids aren't very fond of him either. The counselor described it as them struggling to make room for him or accept him because he's proof their mom isn't coming back. My ILs think it's shit, and we should be more forceful with the kids and making them accept him as their brother and not just a half-brother. They said he will forever feel left out by them if they continue. My husband told them there's nothing we can do because forcing it could make them resentful and hateful, and we don't want that. My ILs called that BS. They said Rylan especially should love having a brother, but he acts like he only has a sister. And Eve acts like she has just one brother. They called us dumb and said we should really stop coddling the kids and tell them they need to put our son first. I told them the counselor said never do that, and they said she doesn't know shit, which is when I snapped and lost my temper and told them they don't know more than a trained professional, and they said they know their grandkids better than a stranger. They told me I clearly didn't value their experience either and only want to disrespect them. Am I the fool?
Am I the fool for refusing to give someone an item out of my shopping cart? My wife and I were shopping for some plants for our backyard. We picked out a tree and put it in our cart along with our other items. About 10 minutes later, a woman walked up to me and said that she had just purchased that tree, the one in my cart. She said she wanted that specific one. To be clear, there were 2 trees left, so she had other options. I asked her why she didn't take it with her when she decided that she wanted it. She said she removed the tag, paid for it, and intended on coming back to the garden section to pick it up. To be clear, it was not off to the side, nor was there any indication that it was reserved in any way. I told her that similarly, my wife and I had picked this one out, and I pointed out that there's another tree. She can just go grab that one. She said, "Seriously?" I said I could say the same thing. Seriously? You're asking another customer to give you an item out of their cart? Am I the fool? Additional info edit. Store was Walmart. Tree was a Japanese maple about 3 to 4 feet tall, probably 15 pounds. Tree was missing the tag. She did not show me the receipt, nor did I think to ask for it. Yes, there was an open register in the garden section about 40 feet away. This is my first Am I the Fool? I hope I'm not breaking the rules, but I think it's important to share my reaction when she approached me, which was, I can't believe she's asking me to hand her something that my wife and just picked out together and is in my cart.
Am I the fool because I don't make an effort to co-parent with my child's father? I have a son who will be 2 in July, and I don't put forth a lot of effort for my son to see his father. Background: His father did not want to sign and did not sign the birth certificate. He did not want him to have his last name and doesn't. He didn't come to the hospital when he was born because he thought he would automatically be put on child support. I will FaceTime a few times out of the week, but he doesn't always answer. If he calls back, it's too late or the next day, and if we meet up, there's always strings attached. Like, can you take me to the corner store or can you drop me off of my friend's house? Last time we met up and had a falling out, so I set my boundaries and told him I couldn't take him anywhere. See and spend time with your son, and that's it. Over the year and 9 months, he has only brought his son a $70 pair of Jordans, one big box of Pampers and wipes. He complains that him not seeing his son is my fault. His son crying when he sees him is also my fault. He doesn't have a car, but he get around everywhere else. Why can't he come visit his son? If I don't call or take the incentive, it won't happen. And I'm okay with that. My son is not without proper male father figures or role models in his life. So am I the fool so not making an effort to co-parent? Am I the fool? My mom and her BF have sex the same night I come home, so my mom, female 36, and her boyfriend, male 29, always somehow manage to have sex the same night I, female 18, come home from my dad's. It is literally every single time. Tonight, I came back after being at my dad's for 5 days, and once again, the start fucking right as I'm about to go to sleep. It's honestly starting to feel like they are doing it on purpose, and it's driving me mad because I don't have a way to block out the noise. They are extremely vocal. I don't own headphones or anything, which my mom knows, and I can't afford to buy any since I have rent and food bills and random stuff to not die. The one time I said something and asked them to maybe try to be a little bit quieter, my mom screamed at me from her room, finished with what they were doing, and then came into my room to scream at me at 2:30 a.m. She called me rude for interrupting them, which is fair TBH, but I was trying to sleep and they were both aware of that. When I asked them to be a little quieter, I knocked on their partially open door. I didn't look into the room because EW, and asked them to not moan loud enough to wake up the whole street, but a lot more polite. I was upset about that because at this point I had to get up in 2.5 hours to go to work. She started calling me ungrateful since they let me live in the house, as if I don't give her money for that exact reason, and that they could be doing it a lot more than they do. I feel like this probably bothers me more than it should, but I don't know. Was I the asshole for saying something? Did I overreact? Edit. I am English.
Am I the fool for asking my girlfriend to shower after work? My girlfriend of a 1.5 years now doesn't like to shower after work. She works at P.F. Chang's. She smells heavily like Chinese food, and I can feel the sweat that's on her body that gets all tacky after it dries. She insists to take a shower every morning, but I feel like it doesn't make any sense. The sheets get dirtier faster and smelly, and I don't feel comfortable really cuddling and touching her as much because she isn't really clean after a 10-hour shift on her feet making food from scratch all day. Though I am somewhat of a clean freak, take showers sometimes twice a day, morning and night. I told her I don't love her any less, I just wish she would. She gets sad and quiet, or gets angry and says she doesn't want me telling her what to do when she's tired.